got there? Are you high? You're high, aren't you?
It's a cold Monday.
He's so high.
You gonna sing for us today?
No, I'm not. I wish I could. If I could, I would. But I can't. On my best day, I'm a bad karaoke singer.
Mm-hmm. On my best day, I'm a bad karaoke singer.
Okay, so we're on this morning. Holy crap. There's somebody listening. I'm kidding. Hi, Heather. Good morning.
Heather. Good morning, Heather. You're the first one on here today. But it's cold where she is, too. A lot of people are off today.
Renee Harris, yeah, MLK Day. Heather says, how about those Lions and Packers? Vic, yeah, I'll be talking about that.
He's really happy.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not as happy as I am for Mizzou. I'm more happy for Mizzou beating Ohio State.
Makes sense.
Because that university and team just sucks. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
You're not sorry.
No, I'm not a Big Ten fan.
Yeah.
The Big Ten sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, Michigan won the title. Good for them. They finally got there. They cheated to do it. I'm kidding. No, here's the thing. I love the Lions.
You do.
And I'm glad that they won, especially after getting screwed over a couple of weeks ago by the referees against the Dallas Cowboys. They should have had a 2 or 1 seed. They could have had the first week off. And then they won. So, yeah. Glad. Good morning, guys. Show before the show. Renee Harris. I'm an SEC guy. So, yeah, I would have been more upset if Mizzou would have lost to Ohio State than if the Lions would have lost. But this is better because Mizzou's been winning. The Lions haven't. Yeah, so I'm glad. Thanks, Heather. And the Packers. They were the best division in the NFC this year, Heather. Nobody wanted to talk about the NFC North, but they were. And their records for the division proved it. Renee, good morning from Oregon. Thanks, guys, for jumping in today. Show before the show. I guess we could, I don't like to talk about weather because it's one of those, hey, everybody brings up weather. Wherever, gas station, where, hey, how about the weather? How about the weather? But when most of the country's dealing with it, I guess it's a story.
Yeah, unless you're way down southern Florida.
Southwest Minnesota minus 37 with wind chills. Cold. The coldest temperature I'd ever been in was minus 40. I think it was minus 40 or 42 in Detroit one morning.
Wow.
With wind chills.
Where were you at?
I was outside covering a story near the Detroit River.
Yeah, that would be cold.
Mm-hmm. But then again, I was also, how long ago was it? It was New Year's Day. I was down on the Mississippi River, and there's this dude that water skis the Mississippi for charity.
Mm-hmm.
And he was water skiing in sub-zero temperatures.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, they had to break up the ice so he could go do his skiing.
He really likes skiing, or he's a little crazy?
Well, yeah, all the above.
Mm-hmm. I'm not bothered by cold, but I don't think I want to go skiing on ice.
Hey, guys. Show before the show. Good morning to you, Heather, Karen, Renee. Guys, like, subscribe, share the show. Shows from Hi Bendy. Good morning to you. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Happy holiday today. Don't know if people are working or not. Heather says, I was stunned. The Packers did so well against the Cow Chokes, but that's what happens. The Cowboys are meant to choke. Their owner is a complete piece of crap. It's the Cowboy way. They're not America's team. They're cheaters. Jerry Jones was instrumental in helping Stan Kroenke take the Rams from St. Louis. Said a lot of bad things, regardless of St. Louis City and their politicians not doing what they should have done in the first place, which upset Stan Kroenke, just to give the full story, because that's what we do on Cancel This.
We upset somebody almost.
St. Louis City political leaders, they fumbled, pun intended, that whole situation. Then Stan Kroenke's like, screw this. I'm going to LA. I can make a lot of money. Okay, great. But he still had to have ownership help to do it. Who was his right-hand man? It was Jerry Jones, who literally is a piece of crap. The guy is one of the most, he is the picture of pride, arrogance, thinking he's better than everybody because of the money that he had. And he's a loser. And it's awesome. No better thing than to see the Dallas Cowboys lose, and not just lose, but get their asses beat. The Lions win, and the Lions beat Stan Kroenke and the Rams. And Jerry Jones also loses just a few hours before that. it's, oh, what a beautiful morning. Yeah, I guess the only thing that could be better for that in my household would be Mizzou winning the national title in football. Well, I guess I'd take it in basketball too, but football really.
You would have a huge party.
No, it's just Cowboys fans. I mean, there's a team. It's like, look up Cowboy memes on TikTok and the Cowboys. I feel bad for Cowboys fans. There's, at least 29 other teams they could root for. I mean, who wants to be a Cowboys fan?
I don't.
And why? Who wants to follow a team led by Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones.
And they want to go back to the old school. Jimmy Johnson, he's a lunatic. I like him, but he lost his mind already. Reminds me of my grandma, unfortunately, before she passed away, kind of like Joe Biden. They keep him on the NFL Fox game day crew, and he just says a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he does.
So, yeah, Heather, you want to get me talking football?
Thanks.
Get me back to my sports talk radio days. I did sports talk radio for 15 years.
Stephanie says she's a Cowboys fan.
Stephanie, I'm a Cowboys fan, but Dak needs to go and Jerry needs to sell the team. Yeah, well said, Stephanie. Get Jerry out. He's the reason I despise the Cowboys. I feel bad for Dak Prescott. I don't feel bad. I mean, he makes a ton of money, but when it comes to the press there, it's always everybody else's fault but the owner's fault. Detroit had the same problem until they sold the team. Or had different leadership, I mean. Wow, there's so much to talk about today.
There really is.
I'm trying to go back and write all these things down.
So much going on.
I don't want to get into it today a whole lot. I'll say it. One other thing too, just in one game last night, since we were talking NFL, and this, we broadcast live to anywhere anybody wants to come on, but we're based out of the St. Louis, Missouri area. 3 St. Louis high school football players were playing in that Lions and
Really?
Lions-Rams game yesterday.
I did not know that.
3 from St. Louis. Jamison Williams, a receiver for the Lions from Cardinal Ritter. Sam Laporta, one of the best tight ends in all the NFL, All-Pro as a rookie from Highland, Illinois, the Metro East. And Kyron Williams from Vianney, he was an All-American at Notre Dame. So Kyron went to Notre Dame. Jamison went to Alabama. and Sam Laporta went to Iowa.
Good for
So
them.
3 St. Louis kids in recent,
Wow.
and these are young guys. They're all first or second year guys in the NFL, all from the St. Louis area.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Love that. Love it. Love it. Well, it's 8:00.
Yeah. Who is this? Did you say you knew Roger Stone? I thought, did you bring him
Well,
up?
I don't know him, but I've seen him on my stuff, and I have contacted him to come on our show. And at this point, he gets back to me. He keeps saying he will get on at some point. But what's interesting about Roger Stone, who's a really great guy, is once he's on your show often gets taken down if it's on streaming. So I'm really trepidatious.
That sounds
to
like
have
a
him
great
on.
idea.
I know. Let's have Roger Stone on and then no, cancel this tomorrow because the show's taken down.
All right, we can go ahead and start the show. Thank you, man. Hey guys, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 15th, halfway through the month already. I'm Vic Faust. Lizzie Sparks and Projo here for cancelthisshow.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. Love it when you guys jump in. We appreciate you being a part of our show today and every day. Lots to get into. Fox News canceling Mike Lindell. Where's the uproar from the White House almost being breached by pro-Palestinian supporters? It's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's wearing a white hat. The Iowa caucuses are going on. Trump's ad team needs to win every Emmy there possibly is. they rock. Whoever's taking care of that stuff. A warning from the Florida Surgeon General. If you've taken Pfizer or Moderna, that's all I'm going to say right there. It's kind of scary.
Very.
Who Roger Stone says Trump should pick as his VP.
Huh.
That's why I brought up Roger Stone.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know a lot of things going on there.
Yeah, there really is.
We've got, and then of course, it was a great weekend of NFL football. It was a great Chiefs won Saturday night. So we got a lot of Chiefs fans out there across the country. Of course, the Lions won last night. Congratulations to the Lions taking care of Stan Kroenke and the Rams. Yeah, they got their title a couple of years ago. Congrats to the Rams. It's fine. But the Lions took them down. And in St. Louis, where we broadcast live out of, there's nothing better than seeing Stan Kroenke and his good buddy Jerry Jones, who co-conspired to take the Rams out of here, lose on the same day. Not only did Jerry Jones lose, he got his ass beat. Cowboys got their ass beat. They got what they deserved because they cheated the Lions 2 weeks previous out of a win. So Dallas shouldn't even have had the second seed. So anyway, karma coming. I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you if you're a Cowboys fan. And it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So they got 2 football games today as well. So if you love the NFL, if you hate the NFL, you get to deal with it again today. So we decided to have a show. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Some broadcasts are on, some aren't. It's a holiday. Hope you guys get to spend time with family, do whatever it is today. Much of the country is under a cold spell, and you can feel it. I mean, even people who say they can deal with cold like me go, holy crap.
Yeah, it's cold.
I mean, dangerously cold. There were dumbasses in Kansas City the other night, minus 20, 30 degrees without shirts on. I don't even know how it's possible.
I don't either.
To not have your system shut down.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would imagine a day or two from now, they're going to be really sick. I mean, I know you don't get a virus from being cold.
Thank you for saying that.
I mean, and I know that. I know you can be cold and not get a virus, but I would imagine that cold is going to at least give you the sniffles.
I don't know.
Ugh.
There's no amount of alcohol that was going to take care of that.
No.
So we appreciate everybody jumping in. Kathleen, Paula, Glenn, as I look down, Glenn says, I thought Jerry was going to start crying in the post-game press conference. I was hoping. He's just not a good person. And there's nothing better than watching him and his team lose. Feel bad for the guys, the coaches, the people who are actually good people, but he's not a good person. And there are multiple instances of that showing. And he's helped screw over St. Louis. So there you go. Chris says, I'm sure alcohol was involved in guys being able to go out and stand without shirts on in minus 20 to 25 degree weather. Yeah, there were people. We saw it over the weekend. Anyway, whether you like the NFL or not, whether it's scripted or not, it's still super popular. Ratings sky high. We talked about what the NFL did, selling off one of their shows for streaming to Peacock. Guess what? The Chiefs game the other night, streaming on Peacock.
Yeah.
Most watched streaming event ever. So
did you watch it on Peacock?
a little bit. I was at an event, so we held it on a phone.
Okay.
Megan had it up on her phone. I was checking out. Well, we'll see.
We have Peacock. I forgot that we had it. And so we pulled it up at our house on Peacock, and we got Peacock because I wanted to watch Yellowstone. And then I just didn't disconnect Peacock. So.
There you go. So if you had, it was, 110 million viewers, 110 million viewers.
Yeah, that Taylor Swift sure can draw a crowd.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
And of course, Taylor's memes are going everywhere. And that's why I tell Chiefs fans, don't worry. Your team is going to win that first game, and you may win a couple more because if the NFL sees that she'll help sell and make money for the NFL, they'll find a way for the Chiefs to win.
Absolutely.
And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Money is king in life. Money is king in the NFL. That's why they sold it for over $100 million in the first place. But that's it's streaming.
Yep.
It's where it's going. And the networks have less and less money. And that's why they were willing to sell it. And you're starting to see it with baseball as well. Cardinals fans, if you haven't seen it yet, a lot of the broadcasts this year are streaming broadcast as well.
I'll tell you what, I can't stand Peacock. I mean, just because it like when you're watching Peacock and the show that you're watching ends, it starts playing something automatically.
Yeah.
It does automatically.
But that happens
like
on
Netflix.
But that happens on Netflix and Prime too, though.
Well, but you know what started playing right after the game?
What?
Some drag show.
You're right. It did.
Show.
Well, because Peacock is really.
Well, I don't know if that's for everybody. If that does that for everybody, if that was like the first thing that it went for everybody.
Huh.
I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is.
Or you mean that it just went to your likes, like what you watch?
I have never used Peacock until that day, so that was like the default first thing.
But you're not into drag shows, are you?
Like I said, I had never used Peacock before, so there shouldn't be any kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was just their default first thing for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know that I watched how it went, but you're right. Like anytime you watch like a Peacock or a Netflix or even Amazon Prime or any of those, it goes straight into something else.
Hey, this is a good point too. Glenn says actually $29 for a year isn't a bad deal.
It isn't.
It's not.
No.
It makes a whole lot of sense.
It
And there's a
does.
lot of smart people there. You kind of got to adjust with the times because these are the things that happen.
I know.
Paying for sporting events, streaming in the future. It is.
A lot of people are really mad about it, but it's like streaming is where it's going to go, whether you like it or not. You need to figure it out. Like I talked last week, we're into streaming, obviously, so we even changed our spectrum from cable to streaming. It just makes more sense to me.
It does. And by the way, one wrap up with Taylor really quick. Yeah, she probably gets her jackets for free, but
she does.
Her Travis Kelce jacket. I didn't have a picture of it. I didn't want to make it a Taylor show. I didn't even bring it up, but somebody did. So she's made several of them this year. It's actually the 49ers fullback. What's his name? It's his wife. She's a designer. She's been making them for NFL players all season long. So use check or I feel bad right now. Anyway, yeah, she probably did because that woman has now just catapulted her career into different dimensions. David Sparks said something. He says Peacock shows a show with your recent Google searches. Joe, what were you searching with drag? I don't care what you do on the weekend. I mean, it's fine. If
David's
you're drag,
a liar. I don't know.
I just want you to feel comfortable and know that you're amongst friends. All right. If you do drag on the weekend, that's fine. You don't have to hide it.
I think that's merely speculation because there could be nothing in my search results. But then again, who knows?
Interesting. Abe says again, OctaStream guys. I got Peacock, but I don't pay for it. OctaStream. I have not heard of OctaStream except from you, Abe. I'll have to check it out. If anybody else knows about that, I guess we can start to learn a little bit more. Yeah, 2 NFL games today real quick. This is the live cast. We appreciate people jumping in. Somebody want to give us a shout out for the Steelers. They play the Bills today. And of course, the Buccaneers host the Philadelphia Eagles as well. So there's 2 more games today from that standpoint. But I don't believe they're games that are streaming. I think they just did the one game, the Chiefs game, which was a overwhelming success.
Yeah, it really was.
So that means they'll do it more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Leave it to Troy, you dirty-minded person. You must be Lizzie's cousin because we've talked peacock, balls, nipply, and drag.
Mm-hmm.
Roland says there's ways around streaming, but I plead the fifth.
I wonder, Roland.
Let me know, Roland.
Tell us all about it, Roland.
Roland.
I want to know about that.
You can message us privately if you want to, and you can help a brother and a sister out then if that's how you get the things done there, the ways around streaming. I don't know. I mean, unless somebody buys something and they share the codes, but then I think Netflix was trying to crack down on the code sharing.
But there's ways around that too.
Is there now?
Yes, because our family, like each person takes turn. Like somebody pays for Peacock.
But I thought you were like the church lady.
I am the church lady, so that's not
Lizzie,
stealing.
the church lady.
That's not stealing. It's like
special.
They all still have our last name. Like one adult kid pays
the Fire Sticks.
Netflix. Yeah, that's how we get it. And one does Peacock and one does this. And then we have streaming and you can get everything. But there is a limit to like all of a sudden you might want to try to watch one of them and there's already too many people on it.
No, I get it. I do get it.
Because they have a limit. They don't care where you do it from, but there is a limit to how many people could be on it. So if more people are on it, then you can't get on it.
All right. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house. He continues to lie to us, telling us that he's putting a camera up, but that's Projo. I keep waiting every day, day in, day out. It is what it is, I guess. But we'll thank our partners that we have with us. Amini's in the Chesterfield Valley in the St. Louis metropolitan area. I saw another article over the weekend, just how saunas are improving people's lives. Heart disease going away, the longevity of life going away, infrared, regular saunas, plus the saltwater hot tubs. Complete Auto Body Repair, fastest growing auto service center in the region, family owned. They've been offering complete experience since 1973. Experienced real estate partners, Kathy Helbig-Strick and Steve Strick of New American Funding. You're not going to find a better team when it comes to buying a house, learning about mortgages than those two. Route 66 Cannabis, 5 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. You can check it out. They've also got their Ostara brand line in several stores around the state. Also, Strategic Air Services, where we broadcast live out of, the premier private transportation providers in all things aviation. WeQuip, a peer-to-peer rental marketplace where renters can go to search for items that they need that their neighbors might not have. They are putting up a bunch more items. I was looking into putting my light kit on there to see if we can get that rented. And of course, Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley. They will have all the games on today as well. You can go by and get some great wings, smoked meats, pizza. They've got it all over at Wenty's. And we're cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Projo as well. You hear him, but you don't see him, which is what I was just referring to. Okay. It is Martin Luther King Day. It is a holiday, so we celebrate the holiday. I hope people are celebrating the holiday. And it is interesting, especially in the last 5-6 years, when I look at things and how this country has gone, especially when you look at everything that the man stood for.
Yes.
And he gets a lot of credit, and he did things in a peaceful manner and trying to bring to light situations, cultures, of people who were not being treated correctly at the time. I'm sorry. I think Martin Luther King Jr. would be very happy at the progress that he has seen regarding everything that's going on. However, I don't think he would be very happy to see protests and riots of the kind that we're seeing all over this country that are not peaceful and trying to force people into doing certain things. And I think these are conversations that need to be had, and they're the kind of conversations that we have here. This man died. He was murdered trying to get a message out of peace and equality for African Americans. I mean, to think about what he gave his life for. And then I think I take it to a whole nother step, Lizzie, when I think of DEI and it's like, oh no, we're going to give you breaks. That's not what Martin Luther King
Not
Jr.
at
was
all.
about.
He would not.
He
like
wasn't
it.
about. Yeah, it's content of character, not the color of your skin.
Correct.
And look what has happened in our society. And I think he would also be upset when you have people, preachers, and groups saying, give me this, give me that. Things aren't fair because of the color of my skin.
Correct.
He would not say you're oppressed from birth, that you have the opportunities that sit in front of you. But it is interesting. I hate to see, especially in this day and age, how many times do you feel or see groups, even African-American groups, giving the full message of Dr. Martin Luther King?
They're not. They're not giving the full message. Most of the time, they come at it from the angle that they want it. They don't even come at it from the deep Christianity part of it, that he died as also a preacher. He was even in jail. And now it's been so twisted by the Soros type people to make it all about color. He wanted equality, not critical race theory.
Oh, good point. Well said. The critical race theory that came out of that. Because the unfortunate part when it comes to critical race theory is, doesn't it kind of almost seem like it gets into excuses?
Yes. Yes.
And not trying to be mean, just have a good conversation about certain things, about where we are. For example, Roland, who is a listener, and I take for one thing that he said last week, and of course he jumped in our show today, which is why I think of his name. When it comes to voting, you're going to tell me that I don't know how to get a voting card, my black leadership or black leadership within the Democratic Party, that I'm not smart enough, that I'm not able enough to get a voter ID to prove that I can vote? Shame on you. And it's the black leaders who are saying those things.
Correct.
And a lot of church leaders who are black. But then, of course, we had Langford Cunningham on a couple of weeks ago who said shame on the black pastors in the St. Louis area and shame on the black pastors throughout this country who are trying to tell the African-American community that they deserve this, they deserve that, and are not telling the black community what they need to hear, how they need to go and work for things and not fall in to the victimhood of, oh, well, I can't do this and I can't do that because of the color of my skin, and the white man is going to hold me down. The white man is not holding the African-American community down anymore. So I would say, praise God for Martin Luther King Jr. doing what he did. I do think that his murder, his death, was for a major reason, but it frustrates me when I see groups and people, especially in the black community, go away from a message that was totally different than Martin Luther King Jr.'s.
Well, and like Roland is saying on the chat line too, is that white liberals want to act like they're the saviors. So they literally take Martin Luther King's message and they bastardize it with Black Lives Matters. And for example, the original, a lot of people don't know is I think Martin Luther King would have been totally fine with the original little small grassroots Black Lives Matters. And that was originally, which a lot of people don't know, was like elderly African-American men who wanted to just say to their own race, okay, our lives do matter, so stop killing each other. And then these white liberals and Soros and black people that just wanted to make money on it. I mean, the whole Black Lives Matters thing is based on a lie from stealing it from something that was innocent. And white liberals just bastardized the whole thing.
Well, it's my understanding that BLM was started by transgender/gay women.
Well, that's one theory. The original.
And it was hijacked at one point in time, too. But regardless of where it started, there's no way in hell, Martin Luther King Jr. would be sitting here and going, oh, yeah, this is great. No. And it's a shame that he would. It's not right. We know that division is here for a reason. We know that people and groups want division, and they want race wars, and they want this country to be divided in every single way possible. But if you're pushing one race up and pushing another race down or color of skin, that's a problem.
Yes.
You're not helping the situation. You're making it worse, and you're causing division. As Mr. Peterbaugh says, quote from Martin Luther King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Amen to that.
Let me repeat that. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, which is what points of CRT are about. Now, you'll have people say, well, CRT isn't really in the schools and it's not pushing down one race. But if you actually break down some of the books, and I've seen some of the books, it is.
It is. They don't call it critical
and that's
race
where well, what is it? It's this boogeyman. No, it's not a boogeyman. It's in the schools. You may not say that it's CRT. You may not say that it's taking the white man down, but it is. If it's all black and it's promoting just black. And that's why we talk about that when it comes to Martin Luther King, because he would not be supporting it. There is no way in hell. It is interesting. His niece, Alveda King, who is a massive supporter of pro-life rights, has shared, and she's been canceled by a lot of mainstream media over the past 15 to 20 years, and talking about, because she has said that Dr. Martin Luther King would be 100% pro-life. And was pro-life. Now,
he was nuclear family too. He wanted the mom and the dad at home and a strong family.
And he was before. I mean, but he would have been. And then, of course, people who go against Alveda King say no, he wouldn't have. But Roe v. Wade came about in 1973. But she's like, I'm telling you, he was pro-life. And he would have been pro-life, especially as a pastor, as a minister. And you have a very tough road to hoe if you want to call yourself a pastor.
Correct.
And you're not a pro-life person.
Yeah.
Because you've got some massive, I don't know what Bible you're reading from. You can't be a pastor and be pro-choice. You just can't. It's impossible.
Impossible.
And I know it's an uncomfortable conversation that people don't want to talk about, especially in politics. But these are the kind of things that happen. Troy says it was Obama, a biracial man, biracial, who set us back 100 years.
That's very true. Very, very true. I mean, it was been going on even before that, but he set it in motion to just divide this country in just catastrophic ways.
Roland says 2 lesbian black Marxists in cahoots with planned killerhood. Yeah, when they got the start.
Yep.
Jeannie says Baptist. Bendy says, I can't understand how anyone can think it's okay to end a baby's life. It's just, I think of Alveda King because she was Dr. King's niece. And I couldn't believe that this woman, black woman, was canceled by mainstream media because she brought up writings, sayings, conversations of her and her uncle, who she was very close with.
Yeah.
And we talk about that because it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Glenn, of course, calls Obama our first gay Muslim president. Okay. A lot of people agree with you from that standpoint. But we do celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, and we appreciate the quotes and experiences from his life that people got from him. And you feel free to put them on our live cast, which is why we're here today at cancelthisshow.com. But the problem is people like to cherry pick. And people like to cherry pick certain quotes, and people like to cherry quote certain speeches. And you need to have a full understanding of everything that's going on. But we do give our respect and our love to Martin Luther King on this holiday. And it is a holiday. So you can continue to do that. Put your quotes in, and we'll do that as part of this live cast. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Projo. And when you talk about protest, peaceful protest, then you had groups and people like Malcolm X who changed, well, we don't want peace. We're going to do what we got to do. And violence and getting what we got to get through violence. And then where do we see that right now? The pro-Palestinian movement. I'm sorry, people. You can say ceasefire all day long when you go about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And what's being allowed in this country is absolutely sickening. You can talk about January 6th all you want, which was staged, which was set up, which was pushed through. Guards allowing people into the White House. It's all there. You know, it can't be denied. There's no denying what happened. But then when you have scenes like this from over the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, this is Washington, D.C. and the White House, pro-Palestinian protesters breaching a restricted and reinforced gate. Riot police had to confront them. Look at this video. And we talk over the video. Joe, if you can run it, buddy. Look at White House. These peaceful Palestinian people. They're such a good group of people. And the sad thing is that many of these people in this group, they're white.
They are. It's the same Antifa group that fought for Black Lives Matters. Now it's pro-Palestinian. There's plenty of white people with the hijab things on their head.
The
Hijab's on their head. And look at this. This is way worse than the reality of what Jason was. Way worse.
And it continues to happen all over America.
Yes.
Disrupting, causing problems, and not peaceful in any manner, causing problems for everyday Americans. And where are they saying, where's the hostages? What about the Americans who were killed, the Israelis who were taken? All they want to say is ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. And they don't want to talk about the full picture. Ceasefire, then maybe we'll listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Israel's been right from the get-go on anything, okay? I've given you that much because I still don't know how that breach happened in the first place, October 7th. I brought up those questions here. We try to break it down. But anybody that wants to start to say, oh, there should be a ceasefire, shame on you, unless you're going to bring up the entire situation because you're being disingenuous. And you know it, and I'm calling your ass out right now, male, female, I don't care who you are. You're going to go out there and say that kind of stuff without bringing up the full complexity while Americans died, while they're American hostages? Shame on you. And I still see people and friends of mine in my face group, or former friends, I guess, who ceasefire, let's show pictures of dead kids. Yeah, it's horrible. But guess what? Show the full complexity of everything because people aren't talking about that. And then you have an excuse for this? Is there is there an excuse for what we see happening in cities around America? That's the freaking White House in DC.
Mm-hmm. You would think that you would be scared, but that's just part of it. It's all the same people. You might have a little bit of fringe of people that are Middle Eastern in that group. It's the same paid group of people that started all the way back at Ferguson. It's the same thing. It's a money grab. A lot of these people don't even know what they're protesting for. They have no idea. They just get paid to do it.
Interesting. Chris says, where's the tear gas? Where's the rubber bullets?
Very good question.
Were used 3 years ago. Of course it's not there. We know who's in the White House. It's Joe Biden. It's Kamala Harris. You're not going to have any sort of leadership. And it's been the worst leadership this country's ever had. Democrats know it. Republicans know it. Independents know it. It's not getting any better. The border's wide open. The problems continue to happen. We have protesters around this country. And we break it down all the time on this show, trying to bring as best to the situation as we can. Les wants to get back. Just a quick comment that I saw. He said, by the way, Black Lives Matter, BLM arose from the Zimmerman Trayvon Martin case. There's a documentary called The Trayvon Hoax. They put a fake witness on the stand pretending to be the girlfriend of Trayvon. I didn't know that.
There's so much.
But I didn't like how Zimmerman tracked him down though either. I call it fair. We may agree on things, we may disagree. I'm not saying the Trayvon Martin case was all legit, but I did not like how Zimmerman went after him. And he did. But we've had so many cases that divide this country.
So many cases. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. I mean, there's just one thing after another. And I think that's part of what they want to do is pile one thing on another. So you forget the reality of what they're doing because there's so much going on.
The peaceful protests are not peaceful. The pro-Palestinian movement is really making its way with younger people. And when I say younger people, especially 30 and under, 35 and under, because of what colleges have done. Be careful of where you send your kids to college or you're going to be fighting that issue.
Correct.
Continue to talk to your kids all the time. I still try to talk to my daughter. And I say it, she still thinks that and tells me, Dad, the Jews know that they're wrong. This is the kind of stuff that gets out there and it's on TikTok and it's in all these places.
Yes.
And you have to do your best to continue to educate your kids. And it's very bizarre because my daughter, who's come back more conservative, still feels more empathy for the pro-Palestinian movement than she does on the other side because of what she hears from her friends.
Correct. And it's all over TikTok. All my kids say the same thing. It's all over TikTok. It's all over X.
And national media wasn't covering this at the White House.
Not at all. Not at all.
Local media was not covering this at the White House.
If you actually just turn on your TV set and you see what's being said, I mean, look at the elderly people that they don't do the streaming and they just hear crap. They don't see what you just played. They don't see it. It's sad. And our young people, to your point of what you were saying, Vic, is we have to, it can never stop. We have to talk to our kids, have to infuse it in our conversations in a non-confrontational way. So your kids and you are not combating each other and making it a political discussion. You just have to infuse it in everything you say almost daily. You can't just say.
You have to study for yourself. I mean,
Yes, you
after
do.
the football game last night, after the Lions won, by the way, congratulations to the Detroit Lions. We'll say that a couple times. Anyway, Channel 5 was on, the local NBC affiliate. And you know what? Their first 10 minutes of news, it was a good news block.
Mhm.
It was all local. It wasn't national. And I was like, okay, I get this. This can work. Local news can work in the situation, but just take out the world news segment.
Correct. I
Take
agree
out
with
the
that.
politics.
Mhm.
Be local. Local can work.
Yes.
And it was a well-produced segment. It went and looked very good. Stay away from Donald Trump. Stay away from Joe Biden, and let national or individuals go and find it. We'll do that. We'll pick it up where we actually study and have
Mhm.
time to break down these situations. Glenn says, I didn't hear about it until now.
Correct. Because you have to find that as soon as it goes up.
That's sad.
It gets squashed and it gets taken off. So you have to find it and keep it because they don't play it anywhere else. And everyone else is just hell bent on the caucuses today. And they're not telling you all the other stuff that happened this weekend.
A lot of stuff happened over the
A lot
weekend.
of stuff happened this weekend.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good point, or a good time to bring it up. Robert says, I was educated once. It took me years to get over it, Mark Twain.
That is well said.
Well, that
well
gets back.
said.
Well, it gets back to the whole public school, because the public school system, there are reports that the public school system was set up by the Rockefellers. And if people want to break down the Rockefellers and how people get trained and how kids start to get their thoughts and try to base their learning on certain things, and then you think of what the Rockefellers were involved with or who they're involved with, and if it's a one world government and who they're associated with, yeah, these things can happen. Chris says 100%. I have to show my mom, who's turning 80 this year, the actual footage of what's going on that's either lied about or
Mhm.
not shown from mainstream media, because we don't have free media in this
Correct.
country.
Correct.
When it's sickening to think of what's happening. And I lived that life for 25 years. That's why it would be so difficult to go back into doing a local news situation if you were going to do politics, even local politics, because you don't see the full side covered when it comes to politics, unfortunately. Thanks for joining us today. Now, what happened, Donna, was there was a pro-Palestinian march / riot at the White House, and they breached a fence. And you had security guards have to come out and meet them, or they were going into the White House. And of course, you don't hear Joe Biden talking about anything, or he was on another vacation, and the guy is just lost.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, did you know Lloyd Austin was still in the hospital? I thought he was out.
I don't think he's ever gotten out. He's never been out. He's
The Secretary of Defense,
Yeah, isn't that scary?
the Deputy Secretary who's running the country,
Mm-hmm.
running the Pentagon.
Yeah,
It's as bad as it could possibly be.
for sure.
Jeannie says, I have a Rockefeller plate. I think I'm going to smash it. If you smash it, please videotape it and send
Yeah,
it to us.
Send it to us. Do it and then send it to us. We'll play it. Mm-hmm.
So these are the situations that America's living with right now. These are the things that we're going through. And then the whole political, we want to make all this big news about what's happening today. Oh, we got the Iowa caucus for the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Iowa caucus is going on. This whole situation, number one, mainstream media, including Fox, needs to get ratings. They want high ratings. They're already hyping things up.
For sure.
Okay, fine. They're allowed to do it. But creating stories where there aren't stories is a problem too.
Mhm.
And then you go into another situation where you have, Donald Trump has these high numbers. And of course, I think he's going to win. This caucus works different than voting.
It
It's
does
more of a
work
longer
different.
process.
Yes.
Was there anything you wanted to bring up with that?
Well, just a lot of people don't even know. When I was talking to them over the weekend, they don't understand what a caucus even is. And they're like, what's this big hype about it? Don't you just get to vote for who it is? I'm like, no, a primary is where you can go and you can vote for yourself. A caucus is a group of people. Now, a lot of people think they're only elected officials. If you really want to be involved in your caucus, probably you can't do it in Iowa today if you haven't already done it, but you can get involved and be part of that caucus too. It's just most people don't understand that. So they just think it's an elected officials, but you can become part of your caucus. And it's highly important that you do, because if not, if you want Nikki Haley instead of Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis or whoever, you better be there and have your input there, because you can go. They might try to tell you can't, but you can. And that's what I wanted to get out, is people don't understand the difference between a caucus and a primary. If you're in a caucus, you can't just go vote. You have to be part of this whole process. And it's not too late, other than maybe in Iowa, for you to be part of your caucus.
Well, it's the first time where you start to get a measuring stick of the Republican candidates, an
Correct.
official one outside of polling.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it interesting. A couple things here. This tree with several branches that goes off of it. One, Donald Trump's numbers are so freaking high in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, because we already know mainstream media wants him out. Local media wants him out.
Correct.
About 30 to 40% of the Republican Party, these are party people, not you as voters, party at high levels don't want him around.
Correct.
Maybe it's even
Correct.
higher.
And that's why the caucuses is good for other people besides Donald Trump, unless you get in and you be part of the process.
Mary said, I saw something that said they write names down on a piece of paper and
Correct.
then they're counted.
Correct. And in different states, that is how a caucus is done, is you come to a location. I'm just going to give Missouri as an example. It's in March. If you are in Missouri, then you meet where the caucus is. And the caucus in Missouri is actually at Francis House Central. And any different state, you can look that up and you just put your state and the caucus. You can find the date and where it is. And it's as simple as that. People write their names down on who they want, and then they eliminate. It's like a process of elimination. It's very interesting to see. It sounds boring, but it's actually interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about the caucus. And of course, all day we will bring up comments that we see that you write regarding any other topics. We spent some time talking about Martin Luther King Jr. and his holiday today. Donna says, happy Martin Luther King Day. Not the color of a person's skin, but the content of their character.
Amen.
We appreciate that. That's not being taught in CRT anywhere. That's not being taught in Black history. It's not being taught in Black literature either. If I'm wrong, please show me and I will get that out there, because the materials that I have seen do not contain anything to Dr. Martin Luther King with that. Would love to see it. Also, Jeannie says, the longer Haley is talking, the more I don't like her. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. The more she says, she does better keeping her mouth shut. And who I've noticed that people that really like her are just the people who don't get to be able to dig deep. They just see how Fox or whatever, they like her. And so elderly people and young people like her.
I was talking with Alex about this over the weekend, Alex from marketing. And he said something that I agreed with. He's like, did they in Iowa put the number so high for Donald Trump that if by chance he doesn't, if he only wins by 20%, which is still a huge victory and not the 40 to 50%, do they say, oh, Donald Trump's failing or fading? Because when you have a guy that's so in the lead, you've got to find ways to take him down.
Correct. I agree with that too. I don't think he wins more.
Are the polling numbers so high that it's almost impossible to reach? And then you can, hey, Ron DeSantis is coming. Nikki Haley's coming.
That's a very good point.
It would be interesting to think if they did that to see where it goes. Now, the other side would say, oh, you're just trying to stick up for Donald Trump. I'm just bringing up some of these issues because the polling numbers have been higher than we've ever seen in the history of this country.
Correct.
When it comes to a caucus of all things as well. A caucus. And then Donald Trump has been fighting everything in court. Ron DeSantis, I credit him for his work ethic. He visited every single county in Iowa.
He did.
He spoke in every single county. So, good for him. He went all in on Iowa. He's going to get railroaded in every other state. He went all in on Iowa, and it was the first one. And he says that regardless of what happens in Iowa, he will not drop out. He says he'll go to South Carolina where he's going to get crushed. And he may even be fourth in South Carolina, which would be embarrassing for somebody who's hoping to be a president. You're not a presidential front runner if you finish fourth in South Carolina. It's not going to happen. So Chris says it'll be interesting to see what plays out because DeSantis has Joe Peschke from Casino, his own character, once his term as governor in Florida, he won't get reelected. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people are saying that he really just needs to be in Florida governing his state right now. Now, that being said, say for whatever reason he ends up as the nominee, I'm not going to be one of those people like the Never Trumpers and go, I am not voting for him. I am not voting for Nikki. I will even vote for Nikki and I'll be like, oh, I will vote for the Republican candidate. And I think people who don't like Donald Trump need to do the same thing. If he is the nominee, pull for the Republican ticket, because what is the alternative? They're far progressive lefts. So we need to get over, as you call it, Vic, is our pride and still remember that we're conservative Republicans. They may not be our favorite person, but we cannot let the Democrats back in office.
But once again, as we get into this, Democrats have each other's backs.
They sure do.
Republicans stab each other in the back. I'm sorry,
They
you
do.
do.
Yep.
You and our upper echelons of the Republican Party
For
stab
sure.
each other in the back at the local level,
Yes.
at the state level,
Yes.
and at the national level.
Mhm.
We have several instances of it happening. You're talking about a caucus in Iowa, and the Iowa governor is going after Trump as if she was a hardcore left-leaning liberal who had some issue that happened. And it blows my mind because she's already telling, and now she backed DeSantis and she can back whoever she wants.
Mhm.
And she's pretty popular in Iowa, which shocks me how Donald Trump could have the high numbers that he has going into this Iowa caucus when the governor doesn't support him, and not only doesn't support him, supports Ron DeSantis, and goes after him on the offensive, which is like, wait a second. So she's already explaining to Iowans what it would mean if Donald Trump couldn't get 50% of the vote.
Mhm.
So she is telling people how to get these things done, how to literally telling people how to keep Donald Trump from doing as well as he possibly can in the state of Iowa, which blows my freaking mind.
Too.
Now, she's arguing that the results in Iowa would be really bad for Trump if Trump couldn't get 50% of the vote. She says she's arguing that such a result would show that a majority of Republicans support an alternative to Trump. This is what I was talking about. They're trying to, maybe if you lessen the bar for the other
Mhm.
candidates, oh, Trump has problems here. He couldn't even get 50%
Good
here.
point.
That means the majority of the state wants an alternative candidate.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point that no one else is really talking about.
And
I
Trump-
agree with that.
And if Trump was looking for, I guess he knew that he wasn't going to, that this was going on. What it was one of the first things that Trump did when he arrived in Iowa?
Mhm.
He ripped the governor.
Yeah, he did. He sure did. And you know
He
what?
went after Kim Reynolds. I mean,
Big time.
yeah, and just
Bigly, he went after her.
bigly nibbly.
Bigly.
So I'm like, okay, all right. Trump went after her. And then DeSantis says that's only because she didn't support him and he couldn't get his way. So he's thrown a temper tantrum. He's talking about, listen, this woman is doing a whole lot more that she shouldn't be doing to try
Correct.
to take us down.
Correct. I get it. And it depends on how you look at it.
But they've got it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. If you're not in the Trump camp about that, you think that, oh my gosh, he's just bashing her, but he's saying more. They're just taking the tidbits of it. And he actually is saying why this is a problem. It's like what you were saying is Republicans do not back Republicans. And I understand that there is a fight that needs to be had before there's a candidate, but the fights get so meaty and ugly that then when whoever it is that's the candidate, they don't jump on board like the Democrats do. And that's how they get us every time.
Well, they're going to continue to try to campaign as much as they can today. There's blizzard-like conditions in Iowa. Only Republicans can caucus, by the way, too. Registered Republicans in Iowa. I did see that Dr. Bob Onder, who is running, or last time that we checked, I mean, he was running for a state Senate seat in Missouri. Or not state Senate
He
seat,
was
but
running for the lieutenant governor.
lieutenant governor, excuse me, former
but
state
you're not
senator.
wrong. There is some word he might switch over. So
Yeah.
who knows?
I wasn't supposed to say that yet.
Right. Well, but it's already out and about that there's all this shuffling going on in our state.
He's
as well.
in Iowa.
Yes,
So
he is.
he's there. I'm just getting some updates from him as well, if anything
Correct.
happens throughout the day that we can share. But they kick off tonight at 7 p.m. Central. The Iowa caucus is due.
Mhm.
Interesting that it falls on Martin Luther King on the holiday as well, and people aren't working. So we'll see where that goes. The best thing from a Nikki Haley standpoint that I have seen as she says that she beats Joe Biden by over 11% points, the highest of anybody in a possible election. But once again, that polling, do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Where's it coming from? Going into Iowa today, which blew my mind, you're talking about a Donald Trump with 54%, Haley at 20%.
Right.
DeSantis at 13% and Vivek at 6%.
That's a good observation. If I don't think he wins more than 10 or 12%.
And then if he does do that, let's say 10 to 20% he wins by.
Okay. That's great. That's fantastic.
But then national and local, Donald, I'm just saying.
That's a really good point.
Just wait, because we know what can happen. So, people will do what they want to do when it comes to judging and getting out and voting. And it's one state. It's one state to kickstart 2024.
Yeah.
But it's the first state, which is where I think that's why so much attention gets paid to. Nikki Haley needs to do well there too, because she's getting crushed in her own state. Which you can't lose your own state and expect to be a presidential hopeful. You just can't.
No.
But I hate when the media won't tell you the full story. And that's what we're starting to see a lot of.
Correct.
Where you're not getting the full story. You're not getting the kind of coverage that you get here with us when we break it down, when we try to bring you what's actually happening with the Iowa caucus. And most people don't understand caucus. They just don't. And I don't know if most people are really like, oh my God, I can't wait to see. Maybe in Iowa they do.
Right. I think only political savvy people really care what's going on in Iowa. But caucuses is something, the first time I've ever really gotten excited about it is because our state is having a caucus. So I really, up until a couple years back, really didn't understand it either because it didn't affect me totally because we had a primary. Now we don't. And a lot of states don't. So if you want to still be involved and get your vote heard, get involved in your caucus in your state.
By the way, Todd says 70 degrees today in Tampa. Go Bucks. Go Baker Mayfield. Beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. That gets back to us starting the show off today. If you weren't listening with the Lions, because the Lions took out Stan Kroenke and his Rams. Thank God.
Yeah.
And of course, Jerry Jones and his Cowboys got their asses beat. Donna says not winning her own state. That speaks mountains. Yeah, it does. But you're not going to hear it because of what's going on. And Lizzie talked about Fox News in the past, and it's interesting. Fox wants. I'm not going to say that they're horrible because I get a lot of good news and I get a lot of good coverage from Fox that you wouldn't get anywhere. But damn, they do some things that makes me wonder.
Yeah,
the whole situation that happened with Tucker Carlson, and then what they have done to try to create controversy with the Republican primaries, and we already know what's happened. Then they're promoting the hell. I mean, they give Trump his time. I mean, he did do a town hall. So, but in the midst of all this stuff going on, how do you feel about Mike Lindell? Mike Lindell, who has paid a lot of money to Fox over the years for his MyPillows. Now, granted, I was frustrated with him after the last election when he said he was going to prove results and show results that Trump won the election. And there's no doubt a lot of crap happened. And we broke down those stats. But he's going to be, so that was not a good look for Mike Lindell.
Correct.
And then there's been other things that have happened that have not turned out in Mike Lindell's favor. But Fox News canceled all of his advertising.
Yeah. And you know why they did, don't you? His numbers have gone down exponentially. I am a big lover of actually MyPillow. We even have MyPillow sheets and blankets and all that. But he lost a lot of credibility to what you were just saying is that he had this huge thing on OAN and everybody, we're all there with our popcorns and we're going to watch it and all this kind of stuff. And he had what was going to overturn the election and he had the proof and all that. And it was at 7:00. I'll never forget it. We had all friends sitting around. We had our popcorn. And then he said nothing. Like what was bad about it though, Vic, is not only did he say nothing, he just left. And there was no closure into all this buildup.
But he gained popularity after that too. But then
he did. But
here's Mike talking. He came out over the weekend and said what Fox News did to him. Here's Mike Lindell on Fox News canceling MyPillow.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to get on here and tell you all the disturbing news. Fox News has canceled MyPillow. We don't know why. We can only make a couple guesses. Maybe it's because Lou Dobbs was added over here at Lindell TV to this all new lineup we have, and that was just a few days ago. We showed his first interview with our great real president, Donald Trump. Or maybe it's because they don't want my face even on their network leading up to the 2024 election in support of our great real president, Donald Trump. I don't know. These are the details. I don't have the details yet, but all I know is the commercials have been canceled. All of our anything with My Pillow or Mike Lindell canceled on Fox News. And please help us to support us and during this time of cancellation. And thanks for your support of Lindell TV. I believe this is all about stopping me from talking about the election platforms and the elections, and this to getting rid of my voice. And but it's I just wanted to let you all know that this is a very disturbing. We don't know all the details yet, but Fox News has canceled My Pillow. Thank you.
All right, Mike Lindell right there. This is where I'm like, okay, I don't know an advertising company. Fox is an advertising company.
Yes.
In television, there's local news, there's national news, there's podcasts because people want to be associated with that show or they want to get where the people are. That's how advertising works. I've never known of a company that turns down money.
Correct.
And big money for an advertiser unless they've offended them in some way.
Yeah.
Why would Fox say, we're done with you and your money and your advertising? Are they so rich and have so many companies that are paying more that they don't have time for Mike Lindell? No, they don't.
Yeah. Well, and I just think that
what the hell is going on?
When you like to know the behind the scenes, you can look at it one way.
Because money
exactly
is money.
What he said. They don't want him to be saying, for two reasons, though. They don't want him to say what he's saying because everyone else won't let him show the proof. And so to a lot of people, they think he looks like he's crazy. A lot of people, even our chat line is about 50-50 split. A lot of people think he was canceled. It's not fair that he's speaking the truth and that our government has absolutely targeted him. Then about the other half says, you know what? He's a good patriot. He's a good man, but he's kind of cuckoo. And he says things he can't back up. He's very controversial. His products are good. I bought his products and I really like it. But I will admit that I was a little disappointed after all the things that he and even, Sidney Powell were saying they were going to bring the Kraken, and the Kraken never came. Now, I understand that our government and the players didn't allow them to say it either. But now that they have their own platform, Mike Lindell has his own platform. He still hasn't brought the Kraken. He still doesn't come out with exactly how we can fix it the next time. So I don't dislike him. I think it's a bummer that he was canceled. I have sheets on our beds and our pillows, but he offended somebody there. Just like you said, he offended somebody.
Todd says he's an American company that supports our values. I like that.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Dave says Fox is in the tank for Nikki. Lindell is a Trump supporter and
Correct.
January 6th supporter and election denier.
Correct.
Greg says, I heard that he owes Fox $7.5 million for running ads and non-payment. That's what I'm curious about. Are those rumors true? Is that really happening? Is he not paying the money? Because I can't see Fox all of a sudden stopping Mike Lindell from running ads after he has been there for so long. Now, we know Mike was canceled on a national basis and also had some judgments against him.
Correct.
So I'm curious if that had anything to do with it where he hasn't paid those bills and they're not letting him run ads on Fox News anymore.
But $7.5 million, are you really going to let a client get that far in the hole before you cancel them?
Yeah, because here's the thing.
$7.5 million.
Those dollar figures are a lot different than ours.
I guess.
I mean, those exchanges of money are common. I mean, 10 million here, 20 million here.
That's crazy.
That it's a multi-million-dollar company. That's why. But his company has taken a big hit.
Yeah, it definitely
because of his politics, because he was willing to go out there and start talking about things.
Correct. And what he talked about, most of it was true. most of it was true. And so they targeted him. It's like a double-edged sword. Because he was doing that, he sold a lot more pillows. People saw it. People know he's a true patriot. So people bought, me included, bought pillows and sheets and blankets and all that. And then on the other hand, he set himself in a position that the government was attacking him. It's a travesty all the way around.
Glenn says he must have been doing something right if the FBI seized his cell phone. We hear he's a Christian.
Correct.
Big Dave Folks, he's a businessman who thinks he's important because people put him and other personalities on pedestals. That coming from Jay. So those are things that are happening today. Once again, if you like the show, please like, subscribe, share the show on all of our platforms. You can give us a thumbs up, a high, a whatever. We appreciate your support. It helps us get out to more people in regards to what we're doing every single day. We also thank all of our advertisers, our sponsors who are here with the show, our partners who make this go. If you know of any advertisers, please let us know. Vic at canceltheshow.com, Lizzie at canceltheshow.com. We thank Winty's for being a sponsor. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley. Just great food. Pizza, burgers, wings. If you haven't tried it, try it out. Great time. Lots of TVs, great sporting events, great to go out and check out. WeQuip USA. Check out the website. And by the way, all of our websites on our partners page, we have a contact that is set up. You click there and it goes straight to their website. Peer-to-peer rental marketplace. That's WeQuip. Renters go to search for items that they need, that they may not have, that their neighbors don't have or they don't own. Or you can go there and put your items on there to try to help somebody else out and make some money at the same point in time. Route 66 Cannabis, fast lane to the Midwest premier cannabis shopping experience, 5 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. And they also have the Ostar brand line. Fantastic brand line in stores all over the state of Missouri. And by the way, if you're going to these companies or businesses, tell them you heard about them on Cancel This. You get discounts like you do at Route 66. Also, experienced real estate partners, Kathy Helbig-Strict, Steve Strict. They're audience favorites here every Wednesday, talking about the mortgage industry and what's happening with prices, what's happening with real estate. Kathy and Steve have shown and show you every Wednesday what they can do. And Amini's, your leading supplier in traditional infrared saunas and saltwater hot tubs. When it comes to improving your health, right now, when it comes to blood circulation, when it comes to getting rid of heart disease, when it comes to keeping heart disease away, when it comes to living longer, the saunas and infrared saunas, which can be financed at very, very cheap prices, are doing amazing when it comes to people's health. And there's all kinds of medical study that back it up. We are cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house as well today. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We were talking about Martin Luther King Jr., what he would think of what's happening in our life today, all of those things that are going on. Also, getting into what happened with the pro-Palestinian non-peaceful protests that are going on literally at the White House. And it's the Iowa caucuses today. We're breaking that down. We're taking your opinions. We take your thoughts, your comments on our chat line. Go ahead. We try to get to as many of them as we possibly can. Lizzie brought up a good question. Iowa caucuses. Do you care? Is it important? Also, the media coverage that is surrounding Donald Trump with everything that's going on. Okay. Donald Trump's ad team, this marketing team, they're as good as it gets. They really are. We have 2 ads. Let's start with Donald Trump's ad about himself, because it kind of gave me chills, whether you like him or not. Just the company does a terrific job of showing who Donald Trump is. And here is a snippet of that.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all. This is the final.
All right, Lizzie, do you like it?
I do. I love it. I love it. I think it's very, very well done. I think and it's eye-catching. I like it a lot.
I figured if anybody did, it would be you.
Yeah, it's me.
You like
it.
that. Okay,
I
so
do.
that's Donald Trump. Now check out the ad that they have for Joe Biden. One of my favorite ads of all time. This is award-winning. This is even better in a different kind of way. this coming from the Trump team regarding Joe Biden.
At White House Senior Living, our residents feel right at home. Our vibrant facility offers delightful activities and outings, round-the-clock professional care, and exquisite house-made meals.
Well, I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. I've been eating all Italian foods, basically.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
White House Senior Living, where residents feel like presidents.
Yes, that's the best ever. That was not created by Trump, though. I don't think that was a Trump ad, although it was funny. Is that not one of the best ads you've ever seen?
It's awesome.
I mean,
It's awesome.
spot on with Joe Biden.
It's perfect. Perfect. Regardless of who your candidate is on the Republican side, you have to get a chuckle on that. I mean, that is so funny.
Where residents feel presidential.
Yes. Yes. I like that. It's always about the ice cream, too. It's always about the ice cream, which makes you think it is the White House Del Mar Gardens for sure.
Robert says, I have a question. Like Hitler and Stalin did, our government creates opposition groups to get list their oppositions. Always on my mind.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that because our government is not for us. So if we like someone, they're going to pick somebody different so they can control us. And, you know, most people have come to that realization too. It's sad, but true.
I'm sorry.
You're still laughing at the commercial.
I've eaten pizza. Yeah. And don't forget ice cream.
Chaka ice.
Oh my God.
Chaka
It's so sad. This country of ours sucks so bad with that leadership. It's good to laugh.
It's embarrassing. I mean, how many of you out there on the chat line talk about that? Like, what are you talking about with your family? Everybody's making fun of Joe Biden, no matter who you are. And people are like, my kids are even trying to show me apps. Okay, if you buy it here and you get it cheaper here, because everybody's talking about inflation.
It's no wonder.
Awful.
It's no wonder his dementia is not getting any better because he just eats whatever they put in front of him, and they just been feeding him garbage, apparently, eating pizza and ice cream and all this other crap. Yeah, no wonder his dementia is not getting any better.
Of course not.
Unfortunately, so many Americans that still have no idea what's going on and how bad things are at the White House.
They really don't.
As the caucuses get set today, it is interesting as Donald showed up. He's wearing a white hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lizzie, I had no idea. I'd never heard anything about white hat and any side meanings to wearing a white hat.
Correct.
Besides the good guys wearing the white hats.
Right. Okay. So
what's up with Donald Trump in a white hat?
Hey, Joe, if you have the picture of the white hat, okay, there it is. You can just show the picture. I don't know that you have to play the video or anything, but here he is in a white hat. Okay. So chat line people, chime in on this, what you think about this. Most people are going to look at and think nothing other than maybe there's a new slogan coming. But a lot of people also think that white hat is a code word for taking the country back.
Here we go.
Okay.
This is great coming out of Mike Lindell. I'm sorry.
Are you calling me Mike Lindell?
No.
I'm a little slow to the
No, you know what it reminded me of, Lizzie?
I'm Lizzie Lindell.
I want to be taught Lizzie Lindell.
Lizzie Lindell. This is coming from Lizzie Lindell.
Meaning that when Mike Lindell said, hey, there was a lot of things that came out with Mike and who was it?
Sidney Powell?
Sidney Powell
with coming out with the Kraken. Okay, this is the same thing.
The Kraken.
The Kraken. Okay, so the same people that really thought that they were going to come out with the Kraken. And I was very hopeful that Mike Lindell, I was always kind of, that Sidney Powell lady, she jumped on the Trump train and Donald Trump didn't like her. So I always kind of thought that she was an opportunist that was actually hurting the cause. Mike Lindell, I don't think he's the case. But here's another thing that bothered me about Mike Lindell in this white hat is whenever Mike Lindell tried to talk to Donald Trump kept trying to distance himself from him. So I don't know that Donald Trump himself agrees with this white hat business. So let me explain the white hat.
Yeah, this is getting good. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get my popcorn.
So the white hat, get your popcorn, everybody. Get your
No, it's over here.
So all the way back from when our election was stolen. And also somebody saying, what does the white hat say? So Joe, tell us, look it up and see if you can zoom in or tell us what the white hat says.
It says Trump caucus captain.
Correct. Okay. So Trump caucus captain, to somebody that isn't going to dig deeper, is just going to think that that's what he's going to use for the Iowa caucus, that he's in head of his little caucus. Okay. But a white hat person, I am not saying that they're wrong. I just haven't seen proof that they're right. Okay.
I love this.
So the white hat means, okay, so if you are really into Q, if you were really into the white hat society, what they're saying is that this whole time that Donald Trump has actually been in charge of our military, and he's allowing this to play out on purpose so that our country would get so bad and so nasty that it would get all of the swamp seen by who it is, so that a true deep stater like see his hat. Okay, they're saying that hat means he's now going
Trump
to change
caucus
it.
captain.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you dig deep on this, they're saying that
We're
now,
digging deep.
Okay, that the government is now going to be run, or not really the government, the military is now going to be taken back by Donald Trump. So whenever the white hat comes, he's coming back and he's going to save this country that he allowed to go to shit. Just like a parent sometimes has to do tough love. They believe that Donald Trump has given us tough love, so to speak. Those are my words. Those are not somebody else's words. To let our country go to hell in a handbag. And when he wears the white hat, he's saving the day, and it's going to be fine. I hope they're right. I honestly think that's just a hat to sell merchandise for the campaign and to bring out the fact that Make America Great Again is the hat everybody sees. So he wants to just change it up for image. But it's all over the internet now by the people who believe in the white hat. It's all over the internet. It's just not my words. You can look it up that now they're saying.
I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
And that's how
And I didn't until he lost in 2020. And I was one of those that was like, I know he lost, or I know he didn't lose. I know he didn't. I know they stole the election. So I went down every single rabbit hole that could possibly have been gone down. So that's where I learned by the white hat and really understand Q. And Q and Anon are two different groups. So when people lump them, when somebody says Q Anon, we know they don't know the first thing about it, because there is a Q and an Anon.
Yes.
So the thing, though, is that I wanted through all of this is I went down that rabbit hole because I wanted them to be right so bad.
So what do you think, Karen? By the way, we're not saying that this is exactly why he's got a white hat.
No, we're not. I'm just saying what other people are saying.
There is this messaging out there. So Lizzie's not saying that.
No. I am
She's
not.
just educating us on thoughts that are out there.
Correct.
Reports that are out there.
I'm saying that I think this white hat is branding and imaging for him during the caucuses. That's what I'm saying.
Why would they choose the white hat? For the good guy?
Well, white hat does mean the good guy.
Because our impressive viewers / listeners who join the live cast have given us tons of comments. Starting, Glenn says, did Q say this prior to Trump wearing the white hat?
Well, Q type people. I'm not saying Q said it, because you don't know what's real. Because when you go down that rabbit hole, there probably was some really good intel going to Q, but then it gets hijacked by the Anons and the QAnon.
Yeah,
and this
that's the
and
problem.
That. So you can't understand what's true. I am not making fun of Q or any of that. I'm truly not. I wanted Q information to be right, because if you listen to them,
but it wasn't.
It was not right, because they kept saying, okay, March 31st, he's coming back. October, he's coming back. And they would give dates, and you'd sit by the edge of your seat and go, okay, our country's getting back. But it never happened. So I don't know if it was ever real or it was hijacked. I don't know. Well, but a lot of people,
No, I'm glad. Great job of breaking it down, Lizzie. Gary says, to me, we don't really have a clue. Robert says the KKK wore white hats. Just saying.
Correct.
Oh, I love our viewers / listeners. Pam says we'll find out soon, I guess.
Correct.
Greg says, hi ho, Brandon away.
That's right. Yeah.
Mary just thinks it's a new look for him. Greg says the Lone Ranger.
Mm-hmm. And Gary's saying these are known as date faggers. I don't know if he's meaning, I don't know what that means. Explain what that means.
I have no idea.
I don't
Maybe you can let us know from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Michelle says Trump has always been in charge of the military. Mm-hmm. Nothing has changed. Lisa says it sounds like QAnon bullshit.
Yep. And Kimberly saying Anons everywhere. probably lost their shit when they saw him in that hat. And that's true. If you go on X
they
or
probably
TikTok,
did.
they're losing their shit. Like,
But
oh my
think
God,
about
he's
this.
coming back.
But
He's
seriously,
coming back.
when you brought this to my attention, I went for a second. I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
who wears a white hat like that you can barely see the
Correct.
marketers know? You don't wear a white hat that has like gold. You can barely read it.
Correct.
You want it to be bold, like make America great again.
Uh-huh.
A white hat in the middle of winter.
Uh-huh.
It just didn't add up to me. So then you got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, a white hat. Is it something for the good guy?
Well, they say it's for the good guy.
Robert says white hats are also linked to Jewish ties. I've never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn says white hat hackers aim to identify any vulnerabilities or security issues that the current system has.
Right.
And I think we could all agree that we have vulnerabilities in this country right now, especially when it comes to the security of this country.
I think all we need to take of this is what David's saying on the chat line is white hat equals good guy and a black hat equals bad guy. That's really the only thing.
I can see that.
And I could see Trump playing that game. I could.
He's a game player.
He is. So I could see him
less of a game player than he used to be, but maybe he is what he is, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And
correct.
And I don't think Trump's going to change a whole lot in his older ways.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
Robert says the Pope wears a white cap. Jeannie says nothing but conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's just, I just wanted to bring that up.
I love it.
Because on the internet, the Qs are losing their shit over this hack. I mean, they really are.
Where do you find the Qs? I don't even know where to find the Qs.
You can find them, believe it or not, on X. You can find them in different groups. There's been private groups, because I joined a bunch of those private groups right after the election, hoping they were right, and could find nothing that they were saying ever happened. So I went down that hole. I know a lot of people on this chat line did. A lot of my friends did. We hoped they were right. And they actually, to be honest, and I hope I don't offend anybody because I'm not trying to do that, but they hurt the Republican Trump movement. They really did.
I can see that. 100%.
They made people who like Donald Trump look like weirdos.
The problem is that there's still some hope, though.
Yes,
because
I hope it's right.
No, but we know that something bad happened with the election.
We know that
the number. It's just saying something else that that really didn't happen.
Correct.
No, we can show that several times, Joe.
Yeah,
we got to keep that on save.
Sorry, I was going to cue it up to a certain spot.
yes. And so there is still hope. And I think that's why so many people went off the deep end, is we do know, everyone knows the election was rigged. We know that. And so people just wanted to grasp at any possibility, even if they were lies, to make themselves feel better, because we know our government is corrupt.
Especially as we start to get in 2024, we told you as we started this year, two major things. One, we won't stop talking about the border and what's happening there, because the number one problem in this country is illegal aliens infiltrating this country, because it's happening. The invasion is happening. And two, what's happening with the election for 2024, and not to forget anything that happened in 2020, because, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And those are the problems that continue to happen, and over and over and over again. What's up, Joe?
I'm just going to say, never trust anybody who eats an ice cream cone like this.
What is he going to do to it?
I don't know, but look at
what is he doing?
He's got the whole ball of the ice cream cone in his mouth.
Well, those ears don't match the other. Okay, I don't want to get us off, but those ears look different than his other ears on the other Biden.
I think he's trying to touch the back of his throat with it.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I don't even know.
What did Obama call him?
Obama called him. Michael called him.
Joe, I need you to come take care of some business. Come here.
It brings back memories.
Oh.
It brings back memories for you?
No, for him.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
Sorry.
Pam thinks it's his double.
You know what? For our listeners, for our podcast listeners, we're showing a picture of Joe Biden getting ready to eat an ice cream cone, and he's getting ready to stick the whole thing in his mouth. I'm not going to do that.
It's very disturbing.
I'm not going to, and I'm not going to ask Lizzie to show how he's doing it.
No, I'm not going to do that.
So nobody should do that.
No.
Oh my God. Okay, Joe. All right. That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. And when you look at him, I mean, and we always talk about him having a double, but it's really obvious with his ears and even his eyes. I mean, it's so obvious. I don't know which one of that was doing it, but.
Lisa says the Antichrist, here we go, will be a person who survived a fatal head wound. gotten into deep philosophical discussion with my BFF over this because I say Biden suffered a stroke and she said no, gunshot or beating.
Say that again.
The Antichrist would have a gunshot or beating.
Yeah.
You started this.
I did.
You lit the Q flame.
I did.
That's all right.
I did because
white hat, Donald's white hat.
Yeah.
And will he wear the white hat all day today?
That'll be a good. Okay, so everybody that's
now I've
watching,
got a reason to watch the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah, so now you got to pay. So if you have no other reason, look to see if his hat stays on all day. See if there is some sort of a thing that they're meaning by it.
Jeannie says Joe just eats like an old man. You know, when you lose function.
That's probably true. That's true. Yeah.
Chris says, was Joe the real deep throat? Maybe. Gary says Joe is shot. Yeah, we know he is shot. He is gone. And then Heather, because I brought up illegal immigration. You see what Abbott is finally doing in Texas. Should have been done a long time ago. Yeah, they took over control of the state and are arguing with DC. So they're putting the water barriers back up. Got to do something. Have to do something with all the crap that's going on over there. And yes, Pam, I remember Obama's bruise on his face. That was after the chef died, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't it?
So
is that the bruise that you're
stuff.
talking about, or did something else happen with Obama? Because we have like 10 million things that have happened in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years since Trump was in the middle of his presidency. Yeah. I can't remember. You guys would have to remember if you're going to bring up the bruises on the faces. Biden is trash. Go blue. Stoner Phillips. Love it, dude. Yeah, he is.
Stoner Phillips.
Yeah. So anyway, those things are happening today. We continue to talk about those. One other thing that I want to get into too really quick. We've talked about this in the past. I just thought it was interesting. Out of all the VP picks in the last 2 weeks that we talked about, possible VP picks for Donald Trump or Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis ticket, have we talked about the person who I loved and said a long time ago, Tulsi Gabbard?
No, we haven't really hit her too hard.
Your buddy Roger Stone is now coming out saying Donald Trump needs to run with Tulsi Gabbard.
But have you noticed Tulsi Gabbard also came out of the woodwork this weekend and talking too?
And she'd been quiet. She'd been quiet for a long time.
Yeah. So I could see that happening.
Tulsi Gabbard, she is liberal. She is less liberal than the liberals of today.
Correct.
She governed Hawaii, which was very liberal. But in recent times, she's become a contributor on Hannity. She's done a lot of stuff with Fox News. Not that means anything after some of our segments from earlier today. But I've always liked her because she calls out the bullshit of the Democratic Party. She ended Kamala Harris's presidential bid on a stage. And then she was disowned by the Liberal Party because you don't attack liberals. Only Republicans stab each other in the back, not liberals. She would be in it. When I saw him putting that out there publicly, I was like, oh, there's a person we haven't talked about.
Correct.
Does she have enough name appeal, though, right now? Do enough people around America know who she is?
Yeah.
Veteran. Democrat. She's a Democrat.
She is a Democrat.
Or she's calling herself independent now.
She is calling herself independent. But she has the same amount of recognition as Kristi Noem. I don't think either one of them is more popular than the other. We all know Kristi Noem because we're all involved in politics. But if you're not, neither name is really high profile for the average person who gets into politics. You ask a person who's not political, they may not know either one.
I just saw first, last. I don't know what that means. What am I allowed to say here? You're allowed to say whatever you want, first, last.
Yep.
Say whatever you want. We're not canceling anybody. We've always just asked people, be polite.
Unless YouTube takes your comment down.
Yeah. We're not doing that. Be polite. Try to back things with fact. And if you say things, be ready. People may say things back too. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Any other dark horse VP picks? I don't think there's any dark horse ones at this point in time because we've talked about it like 8 to 10. And I know we're jumping into a couple different topics here of things that were going on. It's not going to be Ben Carson, as we talked about. Glenn says she's too hot to be a lib. You may be onto something there too, my friend.
Correct.
But Roger Stone did bring that out. One other topic, because, first, last, I hadn't seen your comments before, so I jumped to you real quick. Palestine supporters who literally banned the H word from their chats.
That's interesting.
I don't understand what that means.
Well, we haven't banned anything from our chat, so
no, we don't ban anything.
That would be YouTube, not us.
Correct.
Well, I don't know. What's the H word?
I think Hamas.
Right. You can't apparently say Hamas.
Who can't?
Well, Palestine.
Apparently, if you put it in a comment, they'll take it away.
You have got to be kidding me.
I don't
They're
know.
a real organization.
Right.
Yeah, but they do. Like if you're a Palestinian supporter and you say anything about Hamas,
Hezbollah are real organizations tied to Iran. It needs to be said whether
Correct.
you support it or you don't, and
Correct.
it's real. Remember, we had Helen Quazion, my friend, right now, who is living in the Middle East with her
Yes.
family,
Yeah.
who talked about the pro-Palestinian movement.
Mm-hmm.
And she was trying to give us a basis of, listen, there are people in Palestine that do not agree and love Hamas, but Hamas controls everything because once they got in power, they stayed in power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I think we're
And
giving
I think
this first last person a little bit too much time because they seem to be really like,
who's this?
They're blaming us for whatever's happening to them.
Well,
I
whatever.
don't know. First Last is just talking about all the H words. And there is true to Hamas, Houthi, all those Hezbollah, they're all those H words. And both people on the right and the left have said they've got banned if they use those words in a conversation. And I don't know First Last is Republican, Democrat, Independent. It's fine. I don't know exactly what they're saying other than it is true. I know people that they use those words, their comment gets flagged and taken down, even on our own chat line. So this person might just be asking that, is their comment going to be flagged? And it could be, but we're not the one doing it. It's the platform.
No,
itself.
it's not us. Once again, we're not canceling that stuff out. The only person that's ever been canceled, and I agreed with Lizzie on that, is somebody who was for murdering somebody.
Correct. That was it. And we gave him several warnings. And I know that he pops up on the other chats. We just banned him from Facebook. That was it, because he wouldn't stop talking about it. And that's the only line. You can disagree with us till the cows come home on anything, and we're not going to ban you. The only time is if you literally we talk about someone and you want to blank their head off. Well,
so apparently
that's a problem.
Hamas with one M gets blocked.
Okay.
I don't even understand it. I'm uneducated in that matter for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, it happens. I mean, he or she, First Last is right. What happens is these things are being said. So this person's probably just trying to come on and say, what can and can't they say without taking our platform?
Yeah, this is cancelthisshow.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central. You can catch all of our episodes on our website, cancelthisshow.com. We're here covering the stories, diving into those stories, news headlines, politics, cancel culture education, those cancel stories, interviews from all over the country. On Fridays, we have a lot of fun too. Kelly Mano, Eric Johnson come in, and that's what we try to do here. Try to break down. We give the full stories as best as we possibly can. We invite you in on our live show. Most people take it in afterwards, but a lot of people, as you can see, are still here commenting during the live format from 8 to 10 a.m. Central. We appreciate you guys jumping in. And those are the topics that we were trying to get into with a lot of those things that are happening today.
So
yeah, go ahead.
David sent us apparently a piece of merch that Trump is selling himself.
All right, let's see
Let's
this.
see.
Here, let's get. Am I ready to laugh here?
Happens to be a white hat.
And a white hat. So it could be, we could look at it two different ways. Okay, he's going.
Go Lions, Pam Gifford. I hear it, baby.
There you go.
Give out your Lions shout outs. Love those Lions.
That white hat could simply be, I'm going back to the White House, is what some people are saying. And he's just changing the color from red to white. But white does mean the good guys. So that might be all he's meaning. So there you go. So we need to watch, everybody watch what he has on his head from here on out. See if it's a white hat.
Yeah. First Last says, I guess the word got canceled. Jay says, sad state of education is proved because we have people supporting terrorist groups. We do. We have college kids, college students supporting terrorist groups, and they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Jay says, come on, guys, it's just a hat. Yeah, it may be a hat.
Yeah.
But it is interesting why all of a sudden.
Correct. And it probably is just a hat and there's nothing to it. I kind of like the white hat and I like the change. If we're not looking political at all, I'm all for the white hat because the red hat, that was his first. And now it does need to be changed up a little bit. You know, after a while, you got to just.
Come on, Greg.
It is a change.
Greg's like $50 for the white hat.
Right.
Damn.
Come on, you can't afford $50, Greg.
Pam says, I want one. Roland says, oh, racist with a laughing face. Must be racist. Donald Trump has a white hat.
Mm-hmm.
He's racist.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, they'll call him racist because he has a white hat. But you can't use the red anymore. Think about all the people that have the red hat and you get on an airplane and you're asked to take it off. So maybe they won't ask you to take it off.
What do you mean you were asked to take it off?
I wasn't.
Asked to take what? What are you talking about?
I've seen a lot of TikToks, and I have a friend that got on a plane and they asked him to take the red Make America.
There have been.
I've never seen any of that.
True.
Some
We'll find a video.
hostility against the red hat.
Yeah, the
There
red
have,
hat
definitely.
inflames people who don't like Donald
You
Trump.
might as well be wearing a shirt that says women shouldn't vote.
Correct. It's absolutely right.
But that's your First Amendment right. You can wear whatever the hell you want to wear.
Right. But
let's go,
that doesn't-
Brandon.
that
They
doesn't
can't.
change.
I'm just going to tell you. I didn't see those videos. They can't take you off a flight for wearing a Let's Make America Great hat again. And
I'm
if
not
they
sure
did,
about that
there would be
specifically.
a lawsuit.
Right.
I promise you right
Well,
now,
and I'm not
they would be paying a lot of money.
correct, but they have been asked. I know people for sure that have been asked, and they just, instead of making a scene, take it off.
That's bad.
That is bad. I wouldn't have taken it off. Would not have. When we were right during the time of everybody was flying and everybody had to wear a mask on the plane, we did wear a mask because we went to Chanel Rion from OAN's wedding, and I wore a Make America Great Again mask.
What's going on with Chanel? I mean, we haven't had her on forever.
We need to have her on. Well, her husband has been out of town, and I can't say anymore. I can say it to you off air what's been going on with them, but she's been a little busy.
Oh,
Been
okay.
real busy. Yeah, we'll have her on.
All
soon.
right. All right.
Yeah.
Bendy says red hats trigger people. Well,
They do.
They trigger certain kinds of people.
Correct.
They also get you arrested at the White House on January 6th.
That's correct. I mean, it's like a bullet on your back to have that red hat, and that's a shame. And it's mainly progressive liberals, but it's also, again, some never Trumpers that are Republicans. It really sends them into a tailspin. And I would not be the least bit upset if somebody walked in here with a Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis hat. I really would not be upset about that.
And I wouldn't be upset if somebody walked in with a Biden hat.
Me either.
I'd start laughing.
Right. Well, we would laugh at that.
I want somebody to show me if they find anybody ever take a picture of somebody wearing a Joe Biden hat.
Yeah.
Crickets.
And then ask them if they actually paid money for it.
Correct. I've never seen anyone ever wear a Joe Biden hat, like ever. Ever.
I'm sure they exist.
I'm sure they do too. I just have not seen it ever. That would be interesting. Huh. I don't know.
Oh my God, our country is so bad. Did you? We try to get into stories. We got about 30 minutes left. I mean, there's a couple different things. I want to start with this one real quick, though. This is more serious, and we'll get to the next that's like, oh my God. Over the weekend, too, I think it was from Friday. Did you guys see that the Florida Surgeon General said that Pfizer and Moderna's COVID mRNA vaccines are now linked to cancer? I repeat, the Florida Surgeon General put out a warning for people who got the Pfizer and the Moderna COVID mRNA vaccines because that can contain cancer. The Florida Surgeon General.
I'm glad that somebody finally came out and said what they're starting to find out about. Look at the different types of cancers that have come up. It's not a surprise, but I thought it was interesting. You said two different types, but you didn't say the
Pfizer and Moderna.
Okay, so there was Johnson & Johnson that also came out. And I remember a lot of people were upset with that because it gave people leg cramps and blood clots in their legs, and also supposedly was having like aborted fetuses or dead fetuses in their actual vaccine. Wonder if that was all made up and the only one that didn't cause cancer was the Johnson & Johnson.
Well, he wants to halt it. This came out, last week and a half ago, when he started to say that Dr. Joseph Ladapo, he's asking doctors to please stop recommending COVID-19 vaccines.
The
Florida Surgeon General is saying, please do this. Yet when you watch the NFL games, of course, there's Travis Kelce with his Pfizer. Hey, get your Pfizer. It's the cool thing to do. It's what all the cool kids are doing, and all the tight ends in the NFL. You too might be able to get a COVID vaccine and date Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift likes vaccinated people.
I mean, that's a big deal. The Florida Surgeon General coming out linking it to cancer. He's talking about alleged health risk promoted by this. I mean, he posted it and he said he's got serious concerns about the nucleic acid contaminants.
Wow.
That have been found in the approved Pfizer and Moderna cupcakes. He claimed that they could deliver contaminant DNA into human cells and also raise concerns about cancer risk. Think about that and what he's doing. I mean, I don't know if he's necessarily going to make a ton of friends because there's a lot of people that have a problem with this whole situation. Now, he alleges that DNA integration poses a unique and elevated risk to human health and the human genome, including the risk that DNA integrated into sperm or egg gametes could be passed on to offspring of mRNA COVID-19 vaccine recipients. He also adds, quote, if the risk of DNA integration have not been assessed for mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, these vaccines are not appropriate for use in humans.
They're also saying that these vaccines, if you're vaccinated and you're with somebody who's not vaccinated, you can shed that through your skin cells.
Well, we've talked about shedding a ton over the years, but
I got to know, is that true? I mean, is there any scientific proof of that?
I haven't seen scientific proof, but somebody on our chat line may throw something into there.
I hope so.
Well, it's great because most of us have already known all this, but I don't want to say common people, but regular people who don't dive into all this all the time took it. And they're now so surprised that the shoe's dropping.
Well,
the other shoe is dropping.
I have to think, and this is what's interesting, because our friend, Dr. Naputi, who went through just a ton of hell, he was dealing with something. And then now the Florida Surgeon General, I don't know if he has more clout, but the FDA responded to what he said. They're coming out refuting his claims, of course.
Of course they are.
Saying it's quite implausible. What kind of a comment is that, or response? Quite implausible. It's quite implausible. And said it's misleading.
Of course.
We would like to make clear that based on a thorough assessment of the entire manufacturing process, the FDA is confident in the quality, safety, and effectiveness of the COVID-19 vaccines. We like to call them cupcakes. The agency's benefit risk assessment and ongoing safety surveillance demonstrate that the benefits of their use outweigh their risk. That's the key. They're saying that, yeah, there's risk. They're admitting there's risk, but it's worthwhile to do it. Why would the Florida Surgeon General come out and actually state exactly why it could and why he is concerned and the problems with it? He is more succinct and definitive on why he says what he says.
Correct.
Than the FDA is. The FDA gave this gray, wide open answer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Bindi is saying, it was predicted by some that big problems would emerge in 3 to 5 years. And so it's right on schedule. This is right on the money.
The benefits for the deep state outweigh.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Of course. Our government, like Pfizer and all these big people that are all in cahoots, it's all beneficial to them. So they're always going to debunk somebody that's telling the truth about this. But I'm glad the Surgeon General of Florida is.
That's what I take from their statement is the benefits outweigh the risks. Well, the benefits for the deep state outweigh the risks. You get to put up with the risk. We get the benefit.
Very true. That is very true, Joe. Because they benefit from this and we don't. And, I think it was Jay that was saying on the chat line that they want to depopulate. The bigger picture on all of this is they totally want to depopulate the Christian nuclear family, or just Americans that aren't even Christian, that cannot be controlled by these people. But then they're letting people in across the border. And you've even been had certain politicians admitting that, and who was it? If somebody can remind me, that they're coming across the border because they want the illegals to populate because our numbers are going down in the United States. Well, duh, it was planned. We've got Planned Parenthood. They want to kill off people. They want to vaccinate us. They want to destroy who we are. But then let's let the illegals that don't think like we do and can be easily controlled and let them populate.
And you know what? They're not making them get vaccines when they come across the border.
Right.
You would think if they wanted to make a bunch of money off of taxpayers, they'd be vaccinating these people, but they don't want them to die. They want them to populate.
You're exactly right. And people now that are politicians are starting to bring that to light.
Lisa says mRNA directs your immune system to target one threat. I've heard that before.
One
okay,
threat.
now keep in mind about this. She said one of her coworkers suddenly got Bell's palsy. A neighbor suddenly has rheumatoid arthritis. My dad suddenly developed heart failure. And guess who else had Bell's palsy? Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Bell's palsy, when your face starts
Correct.
to...
A lot of that is going on.
Half your face gets paralyzed.
Half of his face went paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't figure out why, which is why he stopped his touring. Let's just give you the facts. Out of nowhere, a healthy, multi-millionaire kid, built, all of a sudden, I don't know why I have Bell's palsy.
Correct.
All of a sudden.
And you're seeing more of that and more of that and more of that.
Pam says the cupcake does not have a live virus, but it is not an immunization shot. A lady on QVC, Kim Gravel, now all of a sudden has Bell's palsy. I know of another anchor who has Bell's palsy. Fully cupcaked.
Really?
And boosted.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that those things continue to happen. Instead of an invasion of the body snatchers, it's an invasion of the border crossers. That coming from the chat line as well. So as those situations come out, as those headlines come out, we continue to talk about them. It's never too late to tell you what's going on and keep you as safe as possible. Pam says, I do fear for 2 of our children. Yeah.
A lot of us have that. We have, a lot of people have.
If you or your loved ones
took the
cupcake, of course.
Mm-hmm. And at first, the only thing that they were saying was, okay, it might sterilize them. Remember when that was all out there? That was big enough because that was to the population thing again. A lot of people that if the husband and the wife or the man and the woman both took it, they're saying that infertility goes up.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who believed they effectively and safely tested the cupcakes is extremely gullible. Well, of course, but then the pride factor gets into it as well because people don't want to admit that they're wrong. Unfortunately, would rather deal.
And it was all about fear. They made people be scared.
And politics.
Scared.
It was a blue-red deal.
Yes, it was.
And in some cases still is.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally sad. Stoner Phillips, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Hollywood Howard Stern said, F your freedom, get the jab. Yeah, they did. They can both suck my, you guess what?
Mm-hmm.
And Howard Stern continues to get COVID and COVID and COVID.
COVID and COVID and COVID and
COVID. Chris says, I know someone that was a nursing student that had to get it and then developed, there you go, Bell's palsy.
Yes. You see that a lot.
So that was another unfortunate update that came up from that standpoint. This is canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks in the house, Pro Joe as well. This is another serious story because we talked about what's happening in the aviation industry, and now you have people speaking up. Is this and the problems that are happening because of a diversity push, or is it just that the products aren't as good anymore and that stuff happens? Well, now you have the FAA being public about a diversity push, which is including hiring people. And this has come down from Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation. Now, this sounds good in your heart, but is it the right thing to do? They're trying to focus on not the best people for the job in the FAA and the aviation industry. They're trying to focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities because the FAA says that people who have severe disabilities are the most underrepresented segment of the federal workforce.
So wait a minute. They want the Walmart greeter to be my pilot?
Pretty much, because it's pulling at the heartstrings, Joe, that they want us to like, and this is nothing I'm being mean about it, but someone that maybe has cerebral palsy or something, they might be underserved, so to speak. But
no doubt they are. That's facts.
It is. They may be, or somebody with Down syndrome. And those are glorious, beautiful people. But they want somebody that maybe has something maybe not quite right in their brain to come and be in the federal government. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there, but you need absolutely somebody that has the best expertise in their field, not some sort of a checking a box.
It's not about color of skin. It's not about making sure that people who don't have jobs get jobs. It's about finding the best people, especially in a service industry.
Correct.
quote, severe intellectual, quote, psychiatric disabilities is who we're trying to hire.
So, I mean, I'm serious.
You can't make the stuff up that is coming out on a daily
For
basis.
pilot positions, this is what we're talking. I mean, like, I could see
Any positions. I don't know if it would be a pilot. I think that would be another. I'm hoping that would have to be a separate part of this.
I could see a flight attendant, no problem.
But it's all part of the diversity and inclusion clause.
Sure.
So this one is about people who have psychiatric issues, as we've talked about. And it's a part of the hiring plan. They say diversity is integral to achieving the FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel across our nation. Okay.
They wouldn't.
So they say that diversity means that your safety is going to be better. The more diverse you are, the safer your flight is going to be.
I couldn't join the Air Force, and I couldn't become a pilot because I had asthma as a kid. But yet, I really want to find out if this is for pilots.
It's interesting as well because we had a problem with Alaska Airlines about a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of the plane flew off. They had to ground 170 737s. Following the incident, social media commenters, public figures said that the airline and airline manufacturers' emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, the DEI initiatives, which you talk a lot about, has made flying less safe. They said because they don't have quality people making the damn planes that are a part of the aviation industry. They said because they're so focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion that they're not worried about quality. Quote, do you want to fly in an airplane where they prioritize DEI hiring over your safety? That is actually happening. Who do you think said that? Elon Musk. He said it last week.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to fly in an airplane where they're prioritizing DEI hiring over your safety? That is actually happening, coming from Elon Musk.
That is really scary. And that whole thing, I don't think that is helping the underserved people maybe with special needs.
Of course it isn't.
Because we care about people very much so with special needs, but now you're going to put them in a situation just like they would put somebody that's not qualified for something else. We're all qualified for something that God intended us to, and they're actually undermining all of that. That's the whole missing piece here, is that everybody is designed to do something, but you don't go fly. I can't go fly a plane. Nobody would want to be on the plane I'm flying.
Well, Robert reminds us too, it's diversity and price, because we know that a lot of manufacturers don't care about the quality and safety of anything anymore. From your house, from your car to the plane, it's about the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are concerned about safety. I'm not saying they're not. But is it easier to maybe cut a corner here, cut a corner there, or make sure that you hire somebody who represents a certain group rather than hiring the best person? You better believe that that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And many of you have experienced that if you've gone for jobs as well. If you've been told, well, you're the wrong color, or you're the wrong age,
Mm-hmm.
or you're overqualified for this position, those things are happening.
Yeah.
Yes, David, that's not the first time I've heard that. We are living the movie Idiocracy.
We really are. It's the Twilight Zone all over again. All over again.
That's if The Rock was actually running for president, that would just seal the deal on this Idiocracy thing. A wrestler, a pro wrestler becoming president. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor and won because he was an actor.
I mean, the I forget what is Nacho Supreme or whatever the president was in the movie Idiocracy, but he was a pro wrestler. That's the parallel there.
Yeah. Oh, Mary says, look at our government. Nothing should surprise us anymore because these are the kind of things that are happening. And Jay flips the script on what the FAA is saying. Jay says healthy, intelligent, and physically fit people are now being discriminated against.
That's true. Jay is absolutely
Lisa
right
reminds
about
us of Ronald Reagan, the actor turned president. Of course, Jesse Ventura, Minnesota governor, after being a wrestler. This has been going on for quite some time, as we see. Getting back to the whole cupcake, sorry, still on the cupcake, guys. Everyone should be concentrating on getting the metals out of your body because there is hope. We don't have time to get into all of that right now. Yeah. But yes, whether it was from the cupcake or not, we take in metals into our body. And there are ways to get metals out of your body. I would suggest looking into some of that. It's very easy. Even Google searches. You can do it on TikTok. You can find out a lot about doing that because that's where the vaccine came into play when it comes to the metals.
All the way down
foreign metals to our body.
All the way down to what you cook with can affect you.
Well, you should never cook, and not to get too with canola oil.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away.
I'm talking about the actual.
You're better to cook with straight butter. The absolutely.
Of the pots and pans.
Yeah.
Pam says, thanks for getting that out there. Yeah, we're trying to get whatever we possibly can out there. And as Robert says, because we get serious, but we have fun too. In my best, Arnold. Arnold was governor 2 terms of California. Okay. Fill in deaf ears.
Mm-hmm. I was just trying, when you were saying that, I was trying to think, gosh, I used to kind of like him, and now he's just insufferable.
It's not a tumor. Get to the chopper. All my Arnold. My Arnold stuff.
Oh,
get to the chopper. The neo-commie fascist left are desperate, all caps, and throwing everything at us to keep us off balance, coming from Lisa this morning. Look at the overweight lady promoting the A1C commercials coming from Troy Turner. I have seen those, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But then again, if we showed you pictures of all the health directors from 4 or 5 different countries, it would blow your mind.
Yeah.
And didn't we pop a picture up of the American?
Of ours, yeah. I forget her name.
Yeah, if you're over 35% body fat, you probably shouldn't be the health director for the United States of America. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that would be a good call. And you probably want to be the correct sex too. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
So you think it's okay to have the health director be a guy when they're really a girl?
No.
Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
Heather says, oh my gosh, those commercials drive me insane. They're on all the streaming services all the time. And of course, Pam reminds everybody, hey, if you haven't checked out the Arnold biography, check it out. It was pretty good.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that too, that it kind of, if you like him, you won't like him as much anymore because they really tell the truth about what kind of a person he is.
We just wanted to say again, thank you for joining us today for Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Try to enjoy the holiday. Family.
Well, and remember, it's so cold. You don't want to talk about that, but Joe, put up the picture of.
What do you got? Oh yeah, thanks for doing. And I was getting in, and there's NFL games today.
Yes.
But the NFL games today that are being played. One is in Tampa where it's 70 degrees.
Okay.
The other one is an absolute blizzard nightmare in Buffalo. They were supposed to play this game yesterday and they moved it to today, but then
it's going to be just as cold.
I think there's supposed to be more snow for Buffalo, but this was from Saturday night. Chiefs minus 20 degrees.
There's a snot mustache.
That is one of the grossest things. When I first saw that, I was like,
that just shows you how cold it was though, Vic.
Wilford Brimley at the North Pole.
Yeah, he is Wilford Brimley to a T.
Yeah, look at that. But I never thought about it because I just thought, oh, it was cold and that's it. And that's icicles. But people are like, it came from his snot. And I'm like, snot mustache. Yeah.
Oh, lucky us. We get to see a snot mustache.
It was like negative 26 degrees. Your nose would have been running like that too.
Who's actually hung out in negative 26 for 3 hours?
I have not. I have not. And then one like that. Yeah, it was good.
By the way, today's games are on ESPN. So if anybody's looking for those games, somebody said, are they on network? ESPN network from that standpoint. And of course, since you like to use the word nipply, Troy's putting that out for you.
Well, it is going to be very nipply outside in the Midwest. So make sure you bring your hat and your coats and your glove. And if you got a mustache, make sure you have a Kleenex, or otherwise you're going to end up with a snot mustache.
I didn't know this, but I'd like to get into this at some other point in time. Heather says, allegedly, the United States is the only country that allows medication commercials / advertisement / pharma, where pharma broadcast on regular network. In other countries, you can't do that. I would not be shocked if that was the case. And I want to say that I've heard that before.
I believe it.
I believe that too.
But what they have done is, of course, at the end, If you experience an erection lasting more than 4 hours, then you should call your doctor immediately. They put all of the quote liabilities really quick. If you're feeling nausea and don't feel like you can drive and can't get out of your chair for 4 hours, but this is still a good thing for you to do.
And if you're going to kill yourself from taking the antidepressant drug, you might want to stop that.
I guess that's how they have made that work.
Or that real fast spew from the attorney at the end.
Yeah. Real fast.
That does too. Yeah, without pharma. No TV. They're not on at all in the other countries. Only the United States of America, which proves, again, there is a plan to divide us, to hurt us, to take over. You can't trust government on all of these things at all. That's what covers their ass. We know that. Also, the only country that allows direct marketing to the consumer that requires a prescription. Damn.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It all adds together.
It really
A connects to B, B to C.
I think we're the only country with an FDA.
Yeah. And I don't like the FDA, the CDC, any of those. I don't like any of those alphabet
I think there are some good things that they can do.
Like
but
what? Name one.
We don't have time to get into it.
Because you can't name any.
I can, especially in the restaurant industry, 100%.
I don't know. I owned a restaurant, and
I've talked to Ben, and he explained to me why the FDA is needed.
I don't know that. And I don't, from a restaurant owner, I don't know if the FDA was needed. I get the inspectors that come in and make sure you don't have roaches running up your wall. That's a good thing.
Robert reminds us the FDA is not a government agency. I thought that it was associated somehow. Thanks for the update on that, Robert.
There you go. Our listeners are so smart.
Here's another Frozen picture from David. It looks like people's beer.
The beer is frozen.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
want my money back.
I love that. The beer's all frozen.
You got to buy a beer that's not frozen. Good luck.
You can't get a colder beer than that.
No. Gosh, could you imagine having one of those poolside when it's 100 degrees?
Right.
That would be delightful.
Eating a beer popsicle?
Yeah, a beer popsicle.
I've had beer popsicles.
I've not. That sounds good. A beer popsicle.
Yeah, by accident.
I
didn't intend to freeze the beer.
Mm-hmm.
It happened, and you're going to make sure that you take care of what you're going to get. All right. Hey, guys, thanks again for joining us today. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Check out the white hat. See if he keeps wearing it.
I love it. The Iowa caucuses, you can follow that. That's some other good TV watching today or updates. Once again, if there is the white hat for our listeners on the podcast. If you know of companies we could partner with, we always say it. Vic at canceltheshow.com, Lizzie at canceltheshow.com. And of course, check out our partners, please, 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 on our page. We have a donate button as well at canceltheshow.com. You can help us out from that standpoint as well. We've also got a merchandise site. We got a lot of stuff going on. So we'll come back. We'll see everybody again tomorrow. Have a great January 15th. And once again, a great holiday. So for Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. Have a great holiday day.
Thank you.